Hi folks, today is Friday, April 3rd, and a few things to share with you. First of all, I want you to know we're getting a little fancy here. I don't know if you can see this, but I have a lavalier mic. I heard from some folks that the sound wasn't great in some of the previous videos, so we are upgrading. I think this was a good $9.99 upgrade from Amazon, but hopefully it works. A few other things. I have some friends with me here today. I have a cheeseburger. For those of you who know me, you know how much I love cheeseburgers, and I have made a deal with the universe or God or whoever it is you want to call it, but we're giving these up until we're past this crisis. So just an indication of how much I love you and would do anything to keep you healthy. All I have is a cheeseburger ornament now. And the other thing I have here is a ruler, this old-time measuring stick Kevin was able to find on Amazon. Remember these? This is only 3 feet. So it seems far. It's actually only 31 inches, which is less than 3 feet. 6 feet is far. Please do your best to keep 6 feet. A tall person, lay a tall person in between you and the person you're talking to, because that amount of distance adds a level of security. Basically, my spit can't reach you if you're 6 feet apart from me. So let's work on that. And if you see your friends not 6 feet apart, then remind them. And if you see our staff not 6 feet apart, then remind them. You'll start to see that more of our staff this week are wearing masks. And that is that because some jobs we can't have people be 6 feet apart. So as much as we can, we will mask those folks. Our healthcare staff has gone to universal masking. We will use medical masks, whether those are N95 masks or surgical masks for the healthcare folks, and they'll be covered by a cloth mask to protect and preserve the medical mask. And so for those of you who are sewing cloth masks, I love you. Thank you. Keep at it. Get back in your sweatshop. I don't know why you're here watching this video when you could be sewing, but it really is helpful. Penny told me earlier today that we have just about 1,000, I think a little over 1,000 cloth masks between our 3 communities in Manchester, in Exeter, and in Durham. That's awesome. If we could have 2,000 or 3,000, that would be great, because what that will allow us to do is preserve the PPE, and it will allow us to have masks for other staff who likely can keep 6 feet apart from one another, but on occasion may not. And so, or 6 feet from one another or from you. So the more cloth masks, the better. Thank you to our sewers. If your fingers get tired, feel free to take a 2 or 3 minute break, but then get back at it. And a larger thank you to the community as a whole. We're adjusting, and we're asking you for flexibility and patience. And, turns out this is our first global pandemic, so we're learning some things. And some of those things aren't really fun. We're shifting our resources and our focus from a lot of things that were fun and a lot of things that were normal life to safety and security mode. That's for you. It's to keep you healthy and safe, and it's for our staff to keep them healthy and safe. Eventually we'll get back to normal, but while we're here in this mode, it does require a lot of flexibility and a lot of patience from you, and I want you to know I appreciate that. Also regarding communication, I want you to know you're going to start to see in the news news of positive cases in long-term care facilities or nursing homes. It's happening in New Hampshire. It's happening for sure in Massachusetts. And I want you to know, while as of today, April 3rd, we have no known or suspected cases of COVID-19 from our staff or our residents, that may change in the future. And if it does, I will let you know, I will let our staff know, and we will let the public know, because we think that that's very important. We've been asked about where do we get our news and how are we making decisions? And we are really blessed, and blessed isn't a word I use all that often, But really blessed to have Cindy Martin as our Vice President for Quality. She has been, she's our chief clinical person, and she has been helping to guide the decisions that I make or that our executive directors make regarding a variety of things that are the changes, the operational changes that we've made over the last 3 weeks. And so Cindy has a resource list. She's shared it. We will get that out to folks. It's just a way of understanding what we're looking at. I tend to think it's more important to read what the CDC is putting out, or CMS, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or the Department of Public Health, or other science-based websites, because, quite honestly, the local news, the CNN or ABC or MSNBC or Fox or whatever, there's a certain amount of sensationalizing that goes there. And that leads to fear. And that's something I want to talk a little bit about. It really feels like we're fighting two things, and I got this line from a friend of mine. We're fighting two things. We're fighting the virus, and we're fighting fear. And well, I want you to know that our team, our leadership team, we have a healthy amount of fear around this virus because it's so dangerous for you. It's not overwhelming amount of fear. It's the amount of fear that is inspiring us to think of things that we never would have thought of before. It's the amount of fear that's inspiring us to dig deep in our creativity and dig deep into our brains to find better ways to do things, to find more people to ask, to find information that we didn't know was available, and to find the resources within ourselves to do whatever it takes to keep you healthy and keep you safe, and to keep our staff healthy and keep them safe. I think that's actually a pretty good thing. So I want you to know we're whelmed, but we're not overwhelmed. This time period totally sucks, but we will get through it. The other thing that's happened this week is I've had just so many really positive emails from folks, and I really appreciate that. And many of them have asked me, what can we do to help? And so I have a few thoughts. And the number one thought is it's around saying thank you. You all, some of you, write to me and say thank you, and I really appreciate that. But I want you to know, if you only have one thank you to give, don't waste it on me. There are your executive directors and your department heads and the senior leaders in your campuses and your cooks and housekeepers and maintenance guys and the screeners and the nurses, if you can see a nurse or a nurse's aide, because we kind of have them sequestered right now. Everybody who is here every day, they're here for you. They are here to keep you healthy and safe. And so if you only have one thank you to give it to them. But maybe don't be cheap with those. They're available right now. They're not sold out on Amazon. So helping people to understand how important they are and how you feel better and safer because you're here, that's a really good thing. A couple other things that you can do to help that are maybe a little more practical or operational. Number one, simple thing, I think, is if you have your prescriptions at a pharmacy where we need to go and pick them up, and you can transfer them to a pharmacy that will deliver, that would be great. Many pharmacies do. Your executive directors will be putting out a list. Feel free to reach out to your community life director to ask. That's just super helpful to us, because anytime our staff doesn't have to go out into the real world to pick up your drugs, that's one less time that we're taking a risk. Separately, related to personal shopping, one of the things that we talked about earlier this week was really enforcing that there's no visitors on campus and that your family can't come on campus. But one thing your family can do, if there are things you want that you can't order online and you can't get delivered to you, they can absolutely go and do that shopping for you. And then they just leave the bag with our screeners labeled with your name, and we'll have it delivered. I dropped off some stuff for my father-in-law earlier this week, and the screeners couldn't be nicer. So it's a really easy process, and if that works for your family, then that's great. The last thing I want to say is I want you to know that as much as this does suck, and it does, we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about technology and the powerful impact that can have on our lives to keep us together and to keep building community, even when this is as close as we can get. We're learning about different ways and creative ways that we can provide services and tightening up some of our operations there. And we're learning more about the benefits of being a family of communities. I have seen such great interaction amongst our communities, from great ideas coming out of Exeter, great ideas coming out of Manchester, great ideas coming out of Durham, and all of those great ideas being shared. Our executive directors and I meet with Cindy Martin via Zoom meeting 3 times a week. Our entire team of leaders, who we call the Bruins meet 3 times a week via Zoom. And you know what? What I want you to know is nothing is below us right now. Everyone will do anything they can to make sure that we are taking every precaution, that we are doing everything we can to stay safe and healthy, and keep our staff safe and healthy, and keep you safe and healthy. And I guess what I really want you to know is we're learning as we go through this, but we have the right people. We have the best people. We have resources because we're a family of community. We can rely on experts in certain areas. We have financial resources that we can invest in personal protective equipment that maybe some other communities couldn't. And we're going to use all of our brain power and all of our resources for our people and reserves to do everything we can to keep you healthy, stay safe and strong. So these are hard times, there's no doubt. They are unfun, although I'm going to be honest with you, we find something funny every day. I laugh every day, and sometimes harder than I should, and I hope you do too. Find ways to stay connected with us, find ways to stay connected with your friends, and we're here for you. So it's hard right now, and my guess is it's going to get harder, but we'll come through this together. We'll come out the other side, and we'll be RiverWoods, we'll be Birch Hill, we'll be RiverWoods Exeter, we'll be RiverWoods Durham. We'll be a family of communities when we're done. So thank you. Stay safe and healthy. Wash your hands. Stay 6 feet apart. And I love you.